Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Elon Musk once dropped the idea that the probability of us living in base reality is near zero. This thesis caused a shockwave because it exposed humanity's deepest fear, the feeling that everything around us is just a stage set. But most people make a fundamental mistake. They look for the server somewhere outside, imagining some giant machine where our world is running. They hunt for an external programmer, hoping that if they understand the rules of the code, they can negotiate an upgrade to their fate. That is the position of a follower, a character seeking mercy from an admin. The true depth of understanding lies elsewhere. There is no base reality independent of your perception. The universe, in its pure form, is quantum chaos, an endless stream of raw data where there is neither time nor space nor objects. Everything only manifests in the moment of your observation. Your consciousness is not just a witness, it is the rendering engine. As soon as you focus your attention, you forcibly collapse the chaos of probabilities into a specific structure. Therefore, finding an exit from the matrix isn't about finding a door in a wall. It is the realization that you are the one rendering that wall every single second. We function as carriers of alien code. From childhood, we are uploaded with packages of the right life. Go to school, work for the state, take out a loan, be a convenient cog in the machine. These are simulacra, fake images that have no original in reality. You can spend your entire life chasing an ideal of success shaped by a television screen or society, only to realize at the end that the image was hollow. A simulacrum drains your energy. It forces you to spend years maintaining illusions instead of creating something alive. Uninstalling these programs is the most painful, yet most liberating act. When you start clearing out these imposed goals, you suddenly discover that a colossal amount of resources has been freed up in your operating system. You stop viewing the world through the prism of have to and should, and the raw, pure fabric of reality opens up before you. This is the moment of transition. You step out of the control of foreign scripts. You no longer try to fit in because you understand that the format they tried to shove you into is just a piece of software trash that can be deleted with a single command of will. Let's go deeper into how this process happens at the system kernel level. Most people perceive reality as a linear sequence of events. The past generated the present, and the present will determine the future. This is a classic user error, a failure to see the source code. In reality, time is not a highway. It is a gigantic, multi-dimensional library where all the books have already been written. You are not walking through life. You are simply flipping pages, choosing the ones on which the beam of your attention falls. Physical reality is an inert medium. It has no opinion of its own and possesses no will. It only obediently reflects the state of the processor reading it. The secret to mastery here lies in quantum resonance. Your state is not just thoughts. It is a high-frequency signal broadcast into space. When you invest emotions into a failure scenario, you are literally feeding that specific branch of probability, giving the system a command to render that object as a priority. The system, being absolutely neutral, executes the request with precision. This is why Murphy's Law works so effectively. When you fear something, you give that object maximum attention, making it as dense and inevitable as possible in your personal reality. Furthermore, shifting between branches is not a movement in space, but a phase shift. Imagine your life is a radio station. You cannot drive to another station. You can only switch the frequency. Your confidence is the key to the switch. As soon as your internal code reconfigures from the frequency of need to the frequency of possession, the system is forced to instantly recalculate the entire environment. It pulls in new people, new circumstances, and new opportunities that were invisible to you on the old frequency. This is not faking it. This is changing the rendering parameters. When you reach the highest point of control, you stop watching the external decorations altogether. You realize that any attempt to control atoms, money, or other people is a sign that you still consider yourself a character in a game limited by its rules. A true architect simply holds their internal frequency, knowing that everything else is just a consequence that will load automatically. Your confidence here is not self-hypnosis. It is a statement of fact. You are already in the branch you have chosen. And as soon as that code stabilizes, the physical world around you loses its right to remain the same. It sheds old settings and reconfigures itself to the new version of your consciousness. Many panic when their familiar worlds begin to crumble. This is a natural reaction of the biological software. The brain, accustomed to predictability, enters a critical error state and feverishly tries to piece the decaying picture back together. It clings to familiar forms, trying to glue together the shards of the old reality because, to the brain, the unknown equals death. But for an architect of reality, such glitches are not a tragedy. They are a signal that the system has reached peak overload. The old code that held your life together is no longer capable of sustaining the frequency of awareness you have reached. This is not a failure. This is the moment the matrix around you loses its rigidity. At this moment, when you feel the ground slipping from beneath your feet, it is vital not to give in to the reflexive desire to fix the structure. When you try to forcibly return everything to the way it was, you only drive yourself deeper into the old firmware, denying reality a chance for evolution. A true creator makes a deep breath in the chaos and realizes, this is the point of maximum pliability. The fabric of reality becomes as plastic as molten resin, and into this vacuum, you can introduce any new script. You are not saving what is meant to die. You are using this chaos as a clean medium for your new will. Accept this moment as a zero-code zone. When the old structure is destroyed and the new one has not yet crystallized, you are in a space without limits. This is the only state where your intention passes through matter without any resistance. You tell the system, the old is no longer relevant. These are the new rules. If you pass through this without trying to save the remnants of the past, you gain the legal right to a total rewrite of your future. Chaos is not the absence of structure, it is the absence of constraints. And he who knows how to manage this process turns destruction into the fastest accelerator of his ascent. When you realize you are at the control console, the entire concept of fighting for results disappears from your vocabulary. You shift from reactive behavior, constantly responding to external stimuli, into a mode of proactive coding. In this state, all circumstances, people, and so-called accidents cease to be external or hostile. They become components of your own software code. You look at the world not as a set of obstacles, but as a data array waiting for your directives to compile into tangible forms. At this level, you gain the ability of quantum synchronization. You don't spend energy pushing a desired event through the thorns of resistance. Instead, you tune your internal architecture, your beliefs, your expectations, and your base state, so that the desired result becomes the only logical continuation of your current firmware. When your internal core broadcasts a signal of absolute certainty, external reality loses its inertia. It begins to yield, bending the configuration of space and time to your vector. This is not influence. This is direct administration. You set the parameter, and the system executes it because within the framework of your current state, any other development has become impossible. Here begins the stage of architectural testing. You introduce variables as hypotheses, watching how quickly and precisely the world responds to your request. You realize that resources, money, information, and connections do not come to you from out there. They are drawn to you as if to a powerful gravitational center. People who previously seemed unreachable begin to seek your attention because you have stopped broadcasting the signal of the needy and have begun broadcasting the signal of the system leader. You no longer ask permission from circumstances. You simply assert the new version of your reality as the base state, and the world is obligated to accept this pattern. You begin to see the grid of connections that holds all of existence together. Where a normal person sees a wall, you see a structure that can be reprogrammed simply by shifting your point of focus. This is the moment of complete dissolution of the boundaries between I and the environment. You are the player who has realized that you are also the developer and the game environment itself. In this unity, you attain absolute freedom. You don't just reshape the world to your goals, you create new worlds where those goals are already realized. This is the level where your word becomes a command for the entire structure of reality, turning every intention into an undeniable fact of existence. The world is not a prison, It is not a school, and it is not a script written by someone before your arrival. The world is a mode of your existence. When you realize this, the whole game of linear fate ends forever. The era of pure unlimited creation begins. You no longer depend on external data because you have understood that you are the only generator of that data. Your consciousness is the only instrument that carries weight in the entire universe. Your attention is the brush. Your intention is the processor command. Stop analyzing the simulation. Stop looking for its flaws and trying to obey its laws. Start overwriting it. You are not here to follow someone else's manual, but to show reality itself what a consciousness is capable of once it has finally recognized itself as God in its own game. You are a creator who decided to play at limitation for a while, only to eventually remember your true power. Create, overwrite, command. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.